We just got the top 10 selling smartphones in 2023 and it doesn't look good for Android. Now let's discuss about it. So how you can see, the top 10 iPhones, they're literally iPhone 14, 14 Pro Max, 14 Pro, 13, 15 Pro Max, 15 Pro, 15. That's the top 7 best smartphones on the planet and they're all iPhones. And then Android is coming in with Samsung Galaxy A14, Samsung A04e and Samsung A14 4G. Which is not the best information for Android users. I mean, everybody's switching to iPhones at the moment. Looks like people are going to buy iPhones more. They prefer iPhones even though they were Android users. And even there's surveys there that is proving that an iPhone user is unwilling to switch to Android, but an Android user, they will switch to iPhones. Now, what's going on? Because it looks like Android slowly is dying, they're losing market share and then get to a point where nobody will use Android. And if you go back a couple of years ago, probably about a decade ago, there was this war between Android and iOS. Who's winning? Samsung was having the best smartphones on the planet and they were selling the most. They were beating Apple in every way. And if you go at an Android base, Android was literally way far ahead than iPhones. But now Samsung and Google and other brands are losing in front of Apple. And I think the biggest problem is, well, there's more factors to it. So let's take it in the beginning. When Android first came out, everybody was excited. And back then, iOS was literally icons on the screen and you press and you have it. Literally the same thing that it is today, icon on the screen and that's it. But then with Android, you have customization, which with iPhone you didn't have. But now iPhone is starting to add customization features, and back then people were more excited about Android because you can use custom ROM and tweak it and make it your own, while with iOS you only have jailbreaking, and back then it was easier than now, but it's still pretty hard to do it and most of the people didn't want to do it. So back then people have choices. It was seen Android as this amazing platform for experts or for geek people or things like this, while now they just see their phones as a phone. When it comes to other things, keep in mind that back then Windows was still existing, Windows Mobile, and people were still buying Windows Mobile. I was one of the people who owned a Windows Mobile phone, and I'm pretty sure for me and probably most of the people that you asked, it was the best operating system on the planet because you can run literally the same experience on high-end and low-end. Not like Android. If you buy low-end Android at the moment, you will miss features or sometimes it's lag. Windows Phone back then, it was amazing, and I don't understand why the developers didn't want to support it, but that's a different story. But people were more excited with Android back then than iOS. But then see, Apple did something amazing that Android didn't thought about, and they started now to copy it, but I'm pretty sure it's too late. So Apple built an ecosystem. So that means that all the products, all the Apple products, the iPhone, the Mac, the iPad, Apple Watch, etc., they work together perfectly. So I have a pair of headphones, AirPods Max, and using them is pretty amazing because I just put it on the head and they turn on automatically and they connect automatically to my iPhone. If I turn on my laptop and I want to use the laptop, I put a video, for example, on the laptop, it automatically switch to the laptop instantly. It's like seamless. While Android doesn't have this, and people today, they don't care about too many features, they want simplicity. If they want to do something, they will just use their computer. Yes, I know most of the shopping and most of the things happens on a mobile phone, but more complicated stuff, they still happen on the computer. People want a seamless connection between phones and computer. With Apple, you can send messages via iMessages, from the MacBook, from the iPad, from the iPhone. With Android, you can't do things like this. Yes, you do have RCS now on the web, but still, if you don't have a Google phone or if you have a Samsung didn't support RCS from the beginning. Other manufacturers still doesn't support RCS. So it's a hit and miss with this ecosystem that Android is trying to build. And I think this is the main reason why people are switching to iPhones. Now, is Android going to die? I don't think it's going to die, don't get me wrong, because Android is an open source platform, so that means you can run Android on whatever you want technically. It's something like Harmony OS. Harmony OS still uses Android. So they're running Harmony OS on speakers, they're running on refrigerators, they're running on everything. And Android is not going to die, but slowly I think they will use market share from the consumers in the mobile market. I mean, at the moment, what do we have? Samsung and Google, let's say, that are the main competitors for Android. And that's it. No other company is making any, big changes and stuff like this. Oppo tried it and they're not doing it very well because of the software skin and etc. OnePlus tried it and OnePlus was pretty successful until they were bought by Oppo, and now they're not doing nothing. There's this company Nothing that they're trying something new, but they don't have the ecosystem because Android doesn't support it. Microsoft tried to do something with Microsoft Surface Duo and they failed. A billion-dollar company failed to make Android and their software work together how iOS and iPadOS and macOS work. So I think this is the reason people are switching. And to be fair, I'm an Android guy. I have like about 4 or 5 Android phones, but I still have my SIM in an iPhone. The reason is I edit my videos on a Mac, I text my Wi-Fi and iMessenger, I FaceTime people, and I can do all of these things without needing my phone. If I'm working on for example, I'll edit this video. While I'm working to edit this video, I can still reply to my wife, answer a normal phone call. Even if you call me normal, not iMessenger, not nothing, just normal, I can still answer from my Mac. So I think this is the thing that is happening, and I hope Google is literally working hard to try to implement a software or a hardware. And for example, Microsoft did Android for Windows. Amazing. I thought it was a really good idea, not for Windows, not for a gaming PC, but for a tablet, a Windows 11 tablet with Android apps, perfect. But they partnered with Amazon, and as a reason for this, now we're shutting down the program because it was useless. Why not partner with Google? Or Google, why don't you go to Microsoft and partner with them? Listen, we have the Android platform, you have the Windows platform. Let's make them work together how Apple does. Like this, if people can reply from their computer, answer from their computer, and all kind of things that they can use on an Apple one, then people will come back and buy Android phones. I don't understand why is this thing in competition. They need each other. Apple at the moment is way too powerful. They need each other. So if we were going to see a Microsoft and Google collaboration, I'm pretty sure that Android and Windows will be perfect for each other because they'll manage to fill that hole that we don't have at the moment and only the Apple ones have. If they're not going to do something very soon, I'm pretty sure they're going to lose. I mean, at the moment, teenagers, they already prefer iPhones. And when they're going to grow up, do you think those teenagers are going to switch to Android? No, they got used to iPhone. If they're going to switch to Android, it's probably a situation when they became parents and they need, money to support the kids, and they don't have the £1,000 to spend that on a Mac or an iPhone, so they're going to buy like a cheap Android phone. But they're not going to like the experience. The first thing that they're going to do is going to go back to iPhone when they get some money. So Google and Microsoft needs to do something. Windows is losing market share at the moment. Android is losing market share at the moment. I think it's time to team up. But this is my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you in the next one.